Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Moletrap here, and this is the Ace Match. Ace Match between KT Rolster and SKT1. I am super excited to see who Flash is facing today. I haven't seen exactly who it is. We're going to find out in just a moment. It is Best! Flash versus Best! Wow, so that's very interesting. Best apparently is going to come out and represent SKT1 against the monster, the killer, the indomitable ultimate weapon, Flash, who always makes funny faces before the match, swishing around some Picari sweat in his mouth or something there. Now, before I get into this game here, well, the game hasn't even started yet, but a few more bits of news. I've been kind of sprinkling some news, some Brood War news throughout this. The Pro League is going strong. There's lots of games have been played so far, and the OSL and the MSL are scheduled to start this week. Both of them are going to start having prelims on the 28th and 29th, respectively, I think. Yes. So, and they both have sponsors. Bacchus is going to be sponsoring the OSL again, and some other company I forgot the name of already is going to be sponsoring the MSL. So, despite all the legal crap going down, both the Star Leagues are going to continue. They're going to commence as normal. Well, maybe not as normal, but they're going to start at the very least, and they're just going to try and sort out the legal stuff as they go, I guess. Although, yeah. So that's very, very interesting, and it means that for the moment, Brood War is going to continue. Look at this. Flash is so Gosu he can just stop, take his hands off the keyboard to swish his mouth around some more. Very strange. Very strange pre-game customs for Flash. Anyway, he's still got the water in his mouth. What are you doing, Flash? Best looks somewhat less silly, but still deems himself Gosu enough to take his hands off the keyboard for just a moment to scratch his nose. Very hardcore play going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Hardcore play indeed. This is Icarus. This map is Icarus. It's a very interesting 4-player map. You've got a very, very easy to control expansion. It go down this very small ramp, and then you have we'll see it right here. You have the expansion, and then a relatively small choke point there, controlling your expansion with a high ground from your main above the choke to your expansion. So it looks like it's going to be a very easy to hold. Again, I haven't seen any games on this map yet, but it looks like it's going to be easy to hold. And then, so the 4 mains are top, bottom, left, right, and they have this main and expansion set up. And then the corners of the map are these other expansions, which are these kind of like little corner things. They're very narrow expansions with a narrow choke and a narrow ramp. That look like they're kind of separate. You can't really hold them along with your natural. There's no way to like set up a siege line unless you set it up on the low ground, I guess, in front of both bases. It's hard to hold both. But it is a very narrow choke and a very narrow ramp, so it might be easy to hold both regardless. Especially, I'm thinking, as a Terran, you can just put some crap in the way and a couple tanks behind it. Or as Protoss, it'd be really nice to take those expansions against Zerg, I think, because you can just set up a few cannons at the top of the ramp and you'll be golden with a Templar behind it or something, Anyway, that's not what's happening in this game. This is Terran versus Protoss. And it looks like Best is going to go 1 gateway to expansion. I like that move. I was actually thinking he might even go for a fast Nexus, just without a gateway, but he decided to go for the gateway first. I think he's going to scout over here and see that nothing too tricksy is going on, and decides to put down a Nexus. He's sending a single Zealot out to do some harassment as well, just to put some pressure on, force Flash to be a little bit concerned about that Marine, actually. That Marine could get owned pretty badly. I don't even know if that's a wall. Is that a wall? It's hard to tell the way it is. I think it is a wall, but the Marine got through somehow. So where's that Zealot? What are you doing, Zealot? The Zealot's just chilling. Why is the Zealot chilling? Go in, Zealot, before there's a tank or something. Very strange. Anyway, maybe the Zealot's just trying to spot to see if he moves out. I don't know exactly. So there must be a gap in that wall because the Marine just walked back through it. To get behind that wall. I don't know why that Zealot didn't run up and do some harassment there. It's very strange. Maybe he's just hoping to see if he sets up an expansion or something like that. SCV is in best space, sees all these probes transferring over to the next expansion, and there's a vulture moving out. See, why did you wait until the vulture was out to get your to attack with your zealot? Very silly. Scouting probe running away from the vulture. Now Best is gonna have to get something. He's probably got a dragoon on the way or something like that. He's gonna be able to deal with this vulture before too long. And Flash knows that Best has expanded. He's gonna get an expansion of his own. Again, it's a very long distance, so he doesn't have a dragoon. Just a zealot on the ramp. That's very strange. So gets a quick expansion and then doesn't do anything with it. Is not able to do anything with it rather. Anyway, so both players kind of getting expansions, but a little bit delayed in one form or another. And it looks like it is going to turn into probably a little bit of a macro game. I'm curious to see what Flash decides to do. He's a big macro player. He likes to expand everywhere all the time. I'm curious to see if he goes off 2 bases or if he continues to go and get extra expansions despite the fact that they're a little bit harder to take control of. Scouting probe trying to get up there to see what's going on in the main base, see what kind of forces are there. Does not get a chance to see. I don't think it saw that tank. It might have seen that tank. I mean, the tank's to be expected regardless, but there we go. Siege mode on the ramp, or on the ridge there. And if he had several dragoons, that tank would be a little bit too close. He could run up next to the ridge and attack it upwards and kill off the tank. But with just the one or two dragoons out, that one tank can just hold everything off by itself just on that corner. And like I said, the high ground of the main overlooks the choke into the natural expansion, so we see that going on right now. A couple tanks there on that corner are just going to be able to do all kinds of control over that choke point there. So you can see how small that choke point is with the little ridge there moving in there. Anyway, dragoon range being upgraded, robo facility down as well. So Best is going to be going for some Robotech. Wasn't that the name of an anime? Robotech? I think it was. Anyway, it looks like he might be thinking about setting up a third base in the bottom left as well, since he was scouting down there just to see what was down there, kind of moving some dragoons around. I mean, this is almost destined to be a macro game. Best is a very good macro player as well. Flash is the macro player. Getting a second ComSat station down now so he can start scanning and seeing what tech is going on here. Anyway, so this is looking very familiar. This is starting to look a lot like Best versus 4GG, and that may be why they put Best into this into this map. Since Best looked so well. Well, actually, what am I talking about? Anyway, yeah, I just totally confused the heck out of myself. I can't even remember what match just happened. That's very, very strange. Anyway. Wow. Total brain fart. I completely apologize. I've been casting too long today, I guess. I got woken up by a call from work 2 or 3 times this morning. One of my bosses called me. I was like, I want to sleep, so I hit ignore on my phone. Went back to bed. My other boss called me. Told me that my shift had been canceled, so I don't have any regular hours for November. That's cool. And tried to go back to sleep again, and my other boss called me again, even though I had ignored it the first time. And I was like, alright, fine, I have to get out of bed. And so I didn't get much sleep last night. Anyway, starport in the back and a science facility. Gonna get some, well, I'm not sure what he's gonna get. I mean, he may just be getting that for upgrades. He may be getting that for some vessels. And he's setting up that command center over there, so he is gonna try and take that top right corner base, is what it looks like. And Best is already taking that bottom left corner base. So again, you know, it's kind of easy to defend that, but it's hard to defend that and your main at the same time. So I'm curious if that's something that, you know, if Flash does a push, for instance, he might try and abuse that situation, because it's easy to defend, but that means it's also sort of easy to contain. So, you know, with a small choke, it works both ways. You can contain a small choke just as easily as it can be defended.